Back to the Cumbie Show. We tell like it is, we don't care how you feel, and I want to wish a quick Merry Christmas to everyone out there. I hope you all are having a great time with your family and your friends, some good holiday. But let's jump into this preview and prediction. Right now, this is my second preview and prediction of the second round. I've already done the Georgia versus Ole Miss game, so if you're interested in seeing that, check that out. It is on my channel. But this game, we got the Cotton Bowl. We've got not the Ohio State Buckeyes taking on the Miami Hurricanes. Ohio State is sitting at 12-1 with their only loss coming against Indiana, the number one seed in the Big Ten Championship. And the Miami coming into this game with two bad losses, I would say, against Louisville, a 24-21 loss against Louisville, and then a 26-20 overtime loss against SMU with an interception in that game on the goal line in overtime to lose that game. But those are the losses for them. This game is Wednesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve. Kickoff is 7:30, so it is a primetime game. Ohio State comes into this matchup as a 9.5-point favorite, and the over for this game is 42.5 points. So, how are we feeling about this game? What are we thinking? Start off with, I think both of these teams, the Buckeyes and the Hurricanes, I think they both have a really solid defense. You give the slight edge to Ohio State there, but both of these defenses are really good. I like what I see from both. Now, Miami has already played one game in the playoff. Obviously, Ohio State had the bye the first week. Miami did play Texas A&M, and I personally thought it was a great game. I know a lot of people watched that game, and because it wasn't high scoring, lots of touchdowns, 52-47, a lot of people thought the game sucked. I tend to disagree. Defense is a part of games. You're allowed to play good defense. No, you're also allowed to score, but you're allowed to play good defense. And the defense for both Miami and Texas A&M, it was a defensive game. Couple of key mistakes by Texas A&M led to Miami winning that game. But you also got to think, Miami had 3 missed field goals in that first game. So we all know what happened the first time we had a 12-team playoff. All 4 of the teams, the top 4 seeded teams with the first round bye, lost all of their games. Is that the case this season? I do not think so. Maybe there's some rust for Ohio State. Miami was able to get a good game win, found out what they need to improve on, but I don't think all 4 bye teams are going to lose this year in the playoff. So, like I said, both teams, both defenses, I like what I see. Now, Miami did struggle with tackling, especially open field tackling in the Texas A&M game. I feel like they weren't really wrapping up, and a lot of the players were just kind of running through them. So can they improve on that? But everyone that I've noticed is taking Ohio State in this game. So before I get to who I'm actually going to pick, my key thing for this game for Miami is which Carson Beck shows up in this game. Is the multiple turnover machine Carson Beck show up? Because if he does, Ohio State is winning this, and they are definitely covering that 9.5 points. If the Carson Beck that is in rhythm, in timing, getting some help from his O-line, and is making good decisions and being careful with the football, Miami has a legitimate shot at winning this game. Now, I know the line. I thought when I looked at the line for this game, and Ohio State is a 9.5-point favorite, I thought that was ridiculously high. Mostly because my feeling for this game is I still have a lot of questions for Ohio State, which is crazy to say because we're in the playoff. We're in the second round of the playoffs. How could you possibly have any questions for a team? Well, let's look at it against Ohio State. We know what Miami is as a team. We know what they are. When they are playing at their full potential, they legitimately have a shot to win the national championship. When the defense is playing the way that they can play, and Carson Beck is slinging it and he's not turning the ball over, and that O-line is giving them protection, they're able to run the ball, this Miami team legitimately has a shot at winning the national championship. I look at Ohio State. There's still so many questions for me with this Ohio State team, primarily because they have played absolutely no one all season long. I am sick and tired of the Big Ten fans coming and acting like the Big Ten is this great powerhouse. You got 3 good teams. 3. Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana. That is it. That is absolutely it. So Ohio State opens the season up against Texas, against an SEC team. and they get a good win at home. But they put up 14 points at home against Texas. Now, Texas has a good defense. I will give them that. Texas has a legitimately top 10 defense, in my opinion, in the country. And I know it was the first game of the season, but you put up 14 points against Texas. First game of the season. And then you go on to play no one after that. Your best game was against Grambling State. What are we doing here, man? So I don't want to hear any bull crap from Big Ten fans from here on out saying how the SEC team plays cupcakes. SEC is moving to a 9-conference game schedule, and the Big Ten, after the first top 3 teams, is an absolute drop-off and a joke of a conference. But after that first game at home against Texas, they play absolutely no one for the remainder of the regular season. They do have the game against Penn State in the middle of the year, but at that point, James Franklin was fired. This Penn State team was miserable, on a deep decline, and you get to the end of the season against Michigan. We all know what happened. That is the game for everyone, but Michigan was just not that good this year. They were coming into that game, I believe, were they 9-2 coming into that game? So there were some talks maybe Michigan could pull the upset, but Michigan, roster-wise, is not on the same level Ohio State is. And they haven't been for the past 4 years, but somehow Ohio State has found a way to lose that game. But then you get into the Big Ten championship. And this is where I was kind of expecting to see Ohio State take a step away from, take a step, remove itself, distance itself from the rest of the Big Ten and show that it is the clear favorite in the country, and they did it. Not only did they not have their best game, they lost. So the one time that I feel like they play an actual competent opponent on their level, the few times they play, one, it was very close, 14-7 at home, and then the second one, you lose the game. So there's still a lot of questions for me with this Ohio State team. I've seen what this defense can do against teams like Illinois, Grambling State, Miami of Ohio. Cool, great, that's awesome. I haven't seen what you can do against the big dogs of the sport. And while, yes, the defense for this Ohio State team is really good, I still have questions. And I also have questions for this offense. I mean, can Julian Sand have himself a day? And what about Bo Jackson? What can this running back room do for Ohio State in this game against Miami? Because Miami is no pushover. Now, I think they have 2 really bad losses, and if they're not clicking, this can be a really bad Miami team. And they struggled on offense in that first game against Texas A&M, the first round. They also had 3 missed field goals. I mean, you're looking at a game that easily could have been 19 to 7. A 19-7 win, or 19-3 win, my apologies. So completely different game if we're coming out and Miami is beating Texas A&M by 16 points. Very windy, not making any excuses for the kicker for Miami. He had a horrible day, but you missed 3 field goals. That changes the game dramatically. So Miami was able to push the ball down the field and create turnovers. Miami was able to get plenty of turnovers in that game against Texas A&M to give themselves the opportunity to take advantage, and they just couldn't. The kicker could not get anything in. So for this game, what it comes down to me for this game is what version of Miami shows up. Because right now, I don't know what to expect from Ohio State in a big game against a quality opponent. I've seen them play 2 quality opponents this season. One was very close at home. Like I said, they lost the other on a neutral site. And this is a neutral site game for the Cotton Bowl. Which version of Miami shows up? Which version of Carson Beck shows up? And can this defense actually tackle? With all that being said, I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to be different than what I see a lot of other people picking. I'm actually going to take Miami to get the upset. I'm going to take Miami to go into this game. They're going to play. Carson Beck is going to have himself a good game. I don't think he's going to put up anything crazy. He's going to have a very solid game, not going to turn the ball over. And I think this defense for Miami is going to force a turnover or 2. And primarily just because I have questions for Ohio State. Now, would I be shocked if Ohio State wins this game? No, not in the least little bit. But I don't know what to, I generally do not know what to expect from Ohio State. I don't want to see, I just went and looked at their schedule. Ohio State, you play no one, man. You play absolutely no one. And the Big Ten is, like I said, out of the top three, maybe I'll give you top four teams. There's no one in that conference that is a legitimate competition week in and week out. So I don't want to hear about how great you looked against Grambling State. Like I said, Miami of Ohio, Illinois. Like, I don't care. A miserable Penn State team on the verge of complete collapse with no head coach. Like, what are we doing? So I'm going to take Miami to go in this game. I think Carson, like I said, I think Carson Beck plays really well. I think he protects the ball. I don't think he turns the ball over. And I think this defense from Miami is still playing at an elite level. You're going to get the same defense you had in the first game, force a couple of turnovers. And while though I do think that this Ohio State team, this defense is really good, I think Miami's able to put up just enough points. So give me Miami to win, to beat Ohio State. They are going to advance to the semifinal to take on Georgia. I did have Georgia winning in my preview prediction. The over and under 42.5. I'm going to take the over. Yeah, I'm going to take the over. I went with it the first time. I'm going to take the over on the 42.5. Miami pulls the upset. They beat Ohio State, the Suckeyes. Going to be funny to see the Ohio State fans cry. But like I said, hey, if Ohio State wins this game, I wouldn't be shocked. If Carson Beck comes out here and throws multiple interceptions, Ohio State is taking this game, and they're easily covering that 9.5 points. But give me Miami, Carson Beck, as a Georgia fan. Please don't make me regret taking you. I took you the first time. You won. Can I get two out of you? Can we see the Georgia Bulldogs take on Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes in the semifinal? That would be a great matchup that everyone would want to see. But other than that, over and out.